This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Getting straight stuck into sport, and after last night, getting home from the races,
What time?
I chucked on the TV. Oh, I got home about 7.
That's all right.
I thought you said you went home to
Chuck, I know. That was a lot of people's story from last night.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
big day. No,
Yeah, it was a big day. But Trace chucked on the cricket last night because I knew Australia was playing Afghanistan. Just needed to win that game to make sure they were assured of playing the semi-finals. Afghanistan batted first. We kept them to a total of 291, which I thought we should have, it should have been around the 270 mark. So the Afghanis put on a really good performance. But then Australia's batting went to hell. Mitch Marsh top scored at one stage and it looked like no one was going to beat his score. His top score was 24. 24.
Wait there, so it looked like no one was going to beat 24.
24, Nate. They were
Even
going
I know that's
left,
bad.
right and centre. Glenn Maxwell came out to bat. He got dropped early on in his innings, but he went on to make 201 runs.
Wow.
Crazy.
The third time only in a one-day international that someone's hit 200 runs. They never do it.
So
he hit 24 fours and 10 sixes in the match.
Wow.
Do they call that a double century? What's that called? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I didn't know if there was another word for it.
Nathan Morris.
No, I mean, it's not that.
I think you take...
It does equal to 200.
Thank you, everybody. I know everything.
You take the stuff in osmosis sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I know
I
it.
just couldn't believe it. We went to bed because we were like, okay, it's done.
done.
We're shot. And then Liam was up through the night. But I was trying to get sleep to come into here, and he's like, Australia just won. Maxwell 201. I was like, wow. But then I didn't want to get so excited and wake up at 1:30 in the morning.
I know.
But the poor guy was cramping everywhere.
Yeah, he
couldn't run.
was. It was so
He couldn't
funny,
make the
Trace.
runs.
That cramping you showed me this morning, that looked like for you to have to lie down, right, in front of a stadium full of people to get yourself together. That cramp must have hurt.
Well, he had to have people pressing on his toes.
Yes.
We've seen that on TV a million times over, but his whole body was cramping.
whole body.
And one of the things was, Nath, and I mentioned the fact that he hit 24 fours, right, and 10 sixes, which is just enormous. But the fact is, he couldn't run to the other end. So his only thing was, I have to smash every ball as hard as I can. This is him getting interviewed after the game. They asked him how he was feeling.
Yeah, it was obviously quite hot when we were fielding today, and I haven't really done a whole lot of high-intensity exercise, I suppose, in the heat, and it certainly got a hold of me today, and yeah, just luckily enough, we came out with a plan to sort of stay at the same end for a little bit until I could sort of get some movement back, and luckily enough, I was able to stick it out to the end.
All right, so if he was to run while he had the cramps, remember the one of the opening scenes when Tom Hanks was Forrest Gump and he was a little boy and he had the calipers on his legs and he was running?
Yeah.
Is that what it would look like?
With less knee drive, which is hard to see.
Much less. Can I just quickly ask Shaun, what happened with Stark? And because he didn't review.
Yeah, it was a nick.
He was
behind.
batting. Yeah, it was a nick, but I thought it was a stump. So it wasn't the bat though. But he just walked. He walked off without reviewing it.
I 100% would never walk.
No,
100%.
We were both like, "What's going on?" So he wouldn't. In my opinion, if he reviewed it, he wouldn't have been out.
He wouldn't have been out, and then gives.
So he just took it as
he just took it.
that's it,
We
and then
weren't
just walked
sure.
away.
Then we thought we weren't sure if he was saving it for Maxwell, who was up next anyway. So and thank goodness because Maxwell just.
Well, he went absolutely berserk. He was the first. He's the highest ever score by number 6 batter. So that's the number he came in ODI history. He's the first double century by an Aussie. First ever double century in ODI World Cup history. So it's not happened in a World Cup competition.
Yeah.
It's just happened outside of that. Wow. The highest 8th wicket partnership in an ODI game. So
Would there also
Pat
be
Cummins was at the other end who contributed 16 runs. Why he hit 201.
Oh, wow.
But he's considered to be in the highest partnership.
Yeah.
That's not
Would
bad.
he also be a player that has done the best without the use of knees?
Absolutely.
Without the
Or
use of his
bending.
limb.
Yeah.
It does look like he's sitting at the crease with a carrot stuck fair up his clacker because he can't move
That's
at all.
not how
His
you
lower
build a
back's
snowman.
gone.
But that's an amazing effort, isn't it? You just push through and he just I was so shocked.
But think about it, right?
Back.
So maybe the reason why he hit so many runs, hit so many well, because of the sheer terror of having to move. Imagine going, oh my God, I'm just going to have to keep hitting them because if I run, that is going to hurt so much.
Oh, that was
Imagine how
part
much
of
it
the
must
strategy.
hurt.
Yeah, that was definitely part of the strategy.
God.
So we're able to get the victory. Australia
now
into the
they take
semi-final. South
Africa.
Africa, Trey. So you can watch it all on Channel 9.
Yes, if it was India, it'd be pretty hard.
Yeah,
They're at the top.
I think we can beat South Africa for sure.
Yep.
It's about 5 or 6 days away. Well, we heard this yesterday, and it was all about the Melbourne Cup, obviously. We got to speak to a lot of experts yesterday, Nate.
We did.
One person that gave us a tip that actually won was David Short from Tab Touch, Trace. He rang through, and he said he had a bit of a share in a horse that was running yesterday.
Oh, my God. You know what? This is the thing about... We speak to industry experts.
Yes.
And I don't even take the time to write down what they're saying.
No.
Oh, you should.
And he's one of them. But he said he had, part of the horse's tail. That's how much he owned of it. But just have a couple of bucks on it, and it won. It wasn't the favourite. The favourite was red hot in that particular race, and the Burgess Queen, and his horse won, which I didn't back either.
What did it pay?
Wow.
It paid close to $5, I think. So $10 to win 50. That's what it worked out to be. None of the experts that we had tipped without a fight to win directly. We had a few other tips going along during that race, but it was able to win yesterday's race. And it's the first time in 22 years that a horse has won the Caulfield Cup and the Melbourne Cup. Hasn't been done since the Ethereal. So when you do the form, you kind of go, let's put a line through that horse.
Oh, right, because that will not happen statistically over years.
Can it run in the placings? 100%, absolutely. But have an outright win... Because it's won the Caulfield Cup, you normally go, nah, that's not going to happen. But it was. And Mark Zara, who was the jockey who won last year's Melbourne Cup on Gold Trip, decided not to ride Gold Trip, who was one of the favourites, and he stuck with this horse. And the owners of Gold Trip were really, really angry with him. But,
were they?
Yeah, they were. But he said, it was a really tough decision.
As agonising it was to get off Gold Trip, I just separate emotion from, a business decision, and I went with what I thought was a smarter decision, and it worked out okay for me.
So how long before the race did he pull out of that?
He was told he had, it was a Saturday, he had to make the decision. Saturday just gone,
no wonder they were
Tuesday.
pissed.
They really were. And
they've got a right to be pissed, though, too, don't they?
Well, they gave him the opportunity to ride Gold Trip last year, and it won.
Yeah.
And they said it's going better than ever.
Yeah.
And they own this group. They own a lot of horses that compete in big races around Australia. So they were also, I was led to believe, on a race on Saturday when he made the decision, they said, you can't ride this other horse of ours. Go and find another one, because they wanted him to ride that. But he made the decision. And that decision enabled him to win the Melbourne Cup, which is $5 million, I think, for first prize. And that means the jockey gets 5%, it's $250,000 for getting over the line first.
You know what? If I've got $250,000 in my pocket, I'm fine that these horse people are pissed at me. It's like, no worries, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, Shaun.
Obviously,
It's still a thing, though, isn't it? Like, I don't think, obviously there's been a bit of backlash here and there, as Nathan, you're mentioning, but it's still a huge thing. And I feel like this year... It's bigger than it has been, I guess, with COVID and stuff, but it was huge this year. Like yesterday, it was just going off everywhere, really.
Yeah, so 84,500 went along to Flemington, which is the biggest crowd they've had since 2017. They've got Oaks Day tomorrow. They believe that will again go through the roof as well.
Derby Day was a huge hit over the weekend.
Was a success, and then they've got Saturday as well, so that's been big. I was out at Ascot yesterday, Trace. There was a lot of people out there getting stuck into it. They were having a great old time. And it is great to see people put some effort into their what they're wearing. And Nathan brought to our attention the uniform, which a lot of guys just put on, Nate, which
What's
is...
the uniform?
I'm the sort of guys that wear the navy blazer, a white button-up shirt and the khaki pants.
Yeah. They changed it as well at Flemington this year, wasn't it? Shorts were allowed?
Oh,
Is that
Flemington
right?
now, they could wear sneakers.
Yes. They changed the dress code for the members area.
What do you think about
as well.
sneakers?
Last year, I went over there and I was talking to the guys. I did the show from Melbourne. Then I zipped off to Flemington and I went with no socks. They pulled me up for that. Then I wasn't wearing a tie and they sent me to the tie shop to get a tie because I was in the members.
Sure.
Now they're letting in people with shorts.
What about here at Ascot that time we went up to the Chairman's, was it the Chairman's Lounge?
Chairman's
We went to
Lounge,
the Chairman's Lounge and I
Nathan.
was stopped on midway because I was wearing sneakers from Cotton On.
You were
Dare you, Nathan?
And I might as well walked in with my feet rammed in 2 piles of dog crap.
Well, how was the dress code yesterday at Ascot, actually?
I had to wear a tie, so it was suit and tie and stuff like that. Most people were dressed up. They looked really lovely. The women have always done an amazing job, right? Always. The guys have always had to lift their level, but they're getting there slowly. So I hope everybody had a great day yesterday.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.